Plus, with the Better Business Bureau, you don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
British Prime Minister Starmer holding talks with visiting Israeli President Herzog.
The visit was already controversial before Israel's airstrikes in Doha yesterday. The president of Israel has a largely ceremonial role, but Isaac Herzog was accused of using dehumanizing language against Palestinians in Gaza back in October 2023. Sir Keir Starmer's spokesman said he'd raise with President Herzog the steps Israel must take to end what he called the horrific suffering happening there now. 60 MPs have written to Sir Keir asking what legal advice the government was given over whether President Herzog's visit is compatible with the UK's obligations under the Genocide Convention.
The BBC's Caroline Hawley. The European Commission president says she will seek sanctions and a partial trade suspension against Israel over the war in the Gaza Strip. This is the fallout from its strike Tuesday targeting Hamas leaders in Qatar. Breaking news at townhall.com. Amazon's driverless robo-taxis now navigating the streets of Las Vegas on a routine basis.
The Zoox service is offering free rides through parts of the entertainment mecca for those comfortable with the idea of a driverless vehicle. The Vegas debut of Zoox's long-planned ride-hailing service reflects the Amazon-owned robo-taxi maker's confidence in the safety of its boxy vehicles after 2 years of testing them. The unmanned vehicles will pick up and drop off passengers at 5 designated locations, and the rides will be free for a few months. Rich Thomason, Washington.
Apple rolled out its next generation of iPhones that includes a new ultra-thin model and a slight price hike for one of its higher-end models, the iPhone 17. Lineup includes a new slimmed-down model that will adopt the Air name that Apple already uses for its sleekest iPads and Mac computers. More on these stories at townhall.com. I'm John Scott.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com. This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
Do you know what an earworm is? You might have had one, maybe even have one now. Or you will have one. In fact, there was a psychology study that estimates about 90% of us get at least one earworm a year. Some are repeatedly invaded by earworms. Now, before you rush to your doctor, an earworm is just a snippet of a song, few verses, you just can't get out of your head. It's not considered harmful, but certainly can be distracting, even distressing. It might go away on its own, or you might need to take personal action, like singing the entire song, listening to other music, and here's my favorite, listening to Larry Connor's USA. YouTube talks about an earworm eraser. It's a collection of lyrics, fast, slow, hip-hop, country. Nothing connects, kind of like quickly switching through various radio stations, and nothing locks up. Since yesterday, I've been battling with an earworm, part of the Bill Withers song. Ain't no sunshine since she's gone. That's been my earworm. But you know what? Now that I shared it with you, you're stuck with it.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
In all these years that Wellington Environmental has been my sponsor, I've never mentioned their duct cleaning services. Allergy season is here, and Wellington crews clean air ducts daily in homes and commercial buildings, also cleaning air handling units and diffusers in commercial facilities. Why? Well, because people will see black dirt and mold on the vents, or they are actually suffering from allergies. Don't be fooled by low-cost duct cleaning providers saying they charge only per vent, because once they get on site, the price will skyrocket. Wellington does not do this, never has. Wellington will give you an estimate, and you say Larry Connors, and immediately you get a 20% discount. Call Cindy, 314-644-4930, 314-644-4930. Make your home and business better, safer with Wellington. Be well with Wellington.
News Talk STL. This hour of the Allman Report brought to you by STL Fenceworks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Give me land, lots of land, and the starry skies above. Don't fence me in. Let me ride through the wide open country that I love. Don't fence me in. Let me be by myself in the evening breeze. Listen to the murmur of the cottonwood trees. Send me off forever, but I ask you please. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in. Just turn me loose, let me straddle my own saddle underneath the western skies. On my cayuse, let me wander over yonder till I see the mountains rise. I want to ride to the ridge where the west commences. Gaze at the moon until I lose my senses. I can't look at hobbles and I can't stand fences. Don't fence me in. Don't fence me in.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here with you. 3 martini lunch, Ashland over there. And we got a rockin' one for you today. Rick Pogue's going to be in, as he always is. We're going to have CNN finally having to admit there were some really pretty decent numbers as it relates to the economy. We have that for you. And the monster killer on the Charlotte train is speaking. Not that you really care what he has to say, but he is speaking. And Eric Burleson, a congressman, is receiving videos of UFOs. So he's going to tell us all about that eventually. Hey, by the way, did you see the father in the Phillies Karen situation is speaking? This is what he had to say, and this is from the internet, the interwebs.
I accomplished something great.
The magic lasted just a few seconds.
Let me take this back. I got it right off of
glove.
Facebook.
I felt like
That's the dad.
I accomplished something great.
The magic lasted just a few seconds. A woman started berating Feltwell, claiming the ball was hers.
Just screaming in my face, like vulgar curse words in front of my kids. So I just decided to give her the ball and get it over with.
It's what happened next that made a bad situation beautiful. Lincoln and his dad were invited to meet Harrison Bader, who signed a bat for him.
What was it like for you to get the bat?
It was really, really cool just even meeting him.
As for this, it became a life lesson for son and father.
What do you think you've taken away from it?
Well, how to really de-escalate a situation.
I kind of refuse to take any involvement in bashing her. The internet is taking care of that situation by itself. I don't want to be that person in front of my kids.
So the kid says dad taught him a good lesson. That's why I said from the very beginning it was a wise move. He set a great example for his son, and his son took the example. A beautiful baseball story in the end, and I'm kind of glad. I know that people were trying to dox this Philly Karen and want to get her fired and all that stuff. That would be unnecessary. I think she's paid that price, as he indicated. And from one baseball fan to another, Senator Jim Talent. I know you've been following that story because you've been following baseball. Or am I mistaken? You are a baseball fan, correct?
I am. Truth be told, I'm discouraged this year. I've not been following the last month or so as I did before because I live and die with the Cardinals.
Yeah,
I'm dying a little bit. You know what I mean?
But I know, man.
I love the game. I mean, at night I decided I'd buy the MLB pass, and so at night I watch the games and switch around. And,
yeah.
It's interesting, Jay. My initial reaction to that was, if I was a kid's dad, I'd have told her to take a hike. But the more I think about it, the more I think you're right, that was the better lesson. I mean, it was a baseball, in other words, just show the kid, it's not worth it. We'll get another baseball some other time. So I think you're probably right. And he de-escalated in an honorable way.
Well, in a way, I described it yesterday as him basically handing her a ticking time bomb. The ball might as well have had a fuse on it, the way it backfired on her. So it did turn out great, and especially great for the kid. And speaking of MLB, that is totally my jam. I mean, if I could just sit there and watch baseball highlights all night long, that's all I would do, because it's so fun to do that. I love that.
Yeah, I especially like when there's some some play that calls for an arcane interpretation of the rules, and watching the umpires get together. There's a website called Close Call Sports, which analyzes rules controversies. My wife goes nuts because I insist on explaining to her the difference between interference and obstruction, and what happens if there's interference on a infield fly rule play and that sort of thing. So yeah, baseball, and you can do that. They used to call baseball a pastime. It's a game you want to sit and enjoy. You just sort of absorb it a little bit. And when I was a kid, when I was in college and going to school in town, I'd go to 20 or 25 games a year. Jamie, in those days, that was the 70s. You could buy a bleacher ticket for $2. You could park for free on the street south of the stadium. And then you get yourself a soda and a hot dog or a beer or whatever. You get the whole thing for $10.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Those were the days. Well, I'm still looking. I kind of moved on to the San Diego Padres since my son's out there. So I've kind of adopted kind of a second team, so to speak, that I can hang out with, because I really love baseball. I love postseason baseball. And usually what we do is we watch former Cardinals play in postseason ball with other teams. So that's kind of so we're going to get a few Cardinals out of the whole deal, I think. All right, Jimmy, what's happening? I mean, this is something that is really disturbing to see what's going on in South Korea. And by the way, on a larger note, yesterday I was kind of making fun of it because I know the government of Nepal turned off all the social media over there. Well, then they wound up burning one of the former prime minister's wives alive there. I mean, that place is going nutso. But first off, South Korea, because it was always my understanding South Korea was a hugely strong ally, that South Koreans absolutely love us. And whatever is going on there is really disturbing.
Are you talking about the dispute with China, the maritime disputes?
Well, yeah, and their turn towards more radical socialists and deposing people, and it's just kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, they had this constitutional crisis last year when, the president tried to declare martial law. And you got to understand that they're a pretty new democracy. It's really about 30 years old. And they used to live under a dictatorship. And so they're very sensitive to those kinds of things. They're also really beginning to suffer the stress of the population issue, the demographic issue. They have the lowest, I believe, the lowest birth rate in the world. If it's not the lowest, it's one of the lowest.
Huh.
And when you're a developed economy and you have that, and we need to think about it as well, I mean, it's problematical. The other issue they have, just from an international relations standpoint, is being right next to China and having North Korea to worry about. They are definitely an American ally. They can't be as open about it as consistently as Japan is, for example. And I think the Trump administration understands that. Now, I think they're really helping us with shipbuilding. They're investing big time in rebuilding our shipyards. They're a big shipbuilding power. We may end up, if we get enough money in the shipbuilding budget that we can't spend it all in the United States, and I think that's going to happen. We may need to work a deal with them where they build the boats up to a certain point or the ships up to a certain point, and then we have some kind of partnership. I think they're stable and they'll handle it.
Yeah,
these various issues, but when you have a real foreign policy like the Trump administration does, and you establish the direction of it on a strategic level, you then have to manage all these alliances and partnerships. I have a lot of confidence in the administration, but it's not easy.
Yeah,
and we're going in the right direction, but there's all these minor bumps and things that we have to deal with.
Yeah, and also I think it's been great and noticed a little bit by the news media, but they can't believe it. But if I didn't know any better, I would think this would have been the plan all along for the Trump administration to take some really great and provocative stances and make some great and provocative moves and then get sued and then have a go to the Supreme Court. So we've had two instances already where we've had not only the ICE raids upheld by the Supreme Court, but also now the National Guard being moved into cities upheld by the Supreme Court. So that is pretty consequential, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and here's a fascinating thing. It struck me a couple of weeks ago when the president decided to use the Guard in the District of Columbia, that his game plan is usually to be very bold and decisive on behalf of ends that are completely common sense. In other words, he's not pushing for things that are radical, but he pushes for them in a way that is very bold and very decisive, which is really what a good leader does. Now, I mean, look at that. What he wants is to stop violent crime in the cities, which is something that until the day before yesterday, everybody thought would be a good thing. And yes, he can use, certainly in the district. I mean, Jamie, you may remember in the 1990s, and I was in the House at the time, we took over the entirety of district government. Congress would pass a law, and Clinton signed it. Clinton was happy to work with us because it had sunk so low under Marion Barry, not just crime, but everything. So the Congress created a financial control board. It gave it control over the city, and they turned it around in about 5 years. So I don't know, we got to do something. And I just can't, I couldn't even look at the video, any part of that video of the death of that poor woman on the subway. And they're releasing these prisoners. They shouldn't release them even with bail. The violent offenders like that should not be released back on the streets, but they release them on their own recognizance. It's like they feel no responsibility to the people of the city. That murder was completely preventable. That blood is on the hands of the people who let that go and let him go and orchestrated the policy to let him go. I don't know how they sleep at night. I really don't.
This is happening though all over the country because I found out yesterday that and reported this later on in the show that the MacArthur Foundation, which people are familiar with because they support PBS, but the MacArthur Foundation dumped upwards of $3.3 million into the court, like the county court there, just to encourage them to drain the jails of Black and Hispanic people. So they had an economic incentive. And I know that that's not the only county that the MacArthur Foundation, which is kind of like the Soros Foundation, I know that's not the only county that the MacArthur Foundation is in and is paying to incentivize these counties to keep the jails with a lower Black and Hispanic population. It's unbelievable.
It's completely incoherent, even on its own terms, Jamie. You release these criminals in the name of racial justice, and then they go back to their communities. And what communities do they go back to? The Black and Hispanic communities, where they kill other Blacks and Hispanics. I mean, mostly.
Oh, yeah.
It makes zero sense, which is why the people in these communities, I mean, Heather McDonald's done a lot of good work in this. I know you've read about her and read her work, and she goes to these public meetings or town hall meetings or community meetings in these neighborhoods. And all of the residents say, we want more police, not fewer. But of course, the police don't do any good if the prosecutors don't prosecute these people and put them behind bars. Jamie, it's wrong on every level. It's the product of a radical ideology, of a terrible arrogance, just a lack of caring on a human level. And then politics. You know, they're appealing to their progressive base, and we see that base in New York. They're going to elect this guy, Mamdani. You know, if he was an old-time socialist, I mean, a 1930s socialist, I mean, that would be bad. But at least at least those people, they wanted to, create more wealth or more opportunity for poorer people. this guy, I mean, he's just he's all into this intersectional stuff. Supports Hamas. I mean, it's terrible, and they're going to elect him.
Yeah.
It's no wonder they're alienating. It's not the working class voters voting for this guy.
Right. In the Charlotte situation, very interesting because, as you point out, I think you mentioned something really kind of important, and that is that usually the victims of this revolving door are not white people; they're black people, and so this just happened to be a girl from Ukraine. But there are probably in Charlotte plenty of other murders that have occurred by black on black that have gone unnoticed. And the reality is, for the left and a majority of the Democrats, it seems, at least they're consistent because they just don't care about anybody. So they don't care about this white girl getting killed, and they don't care about black people getting killed either. So at least they're consistent about that.
Yeah. And you notice, by the way, that how often they choose. Now, this guy is a complete nut, so you don't know where he was going to do this, but how often they choose venues where they can be reasonably certain nobody's carrying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This doesn't happen in gun stores.
No.
Wanders into one of those and tries something like this, you know what's going to happen. I'm referencing in particular this school shooting that occurred. And they want to take away the right of average people to defend ourselves too. So it's as I said, Jamie, I don't even think of it as political. It's just craziness on so many levels. I was in the legislature for 8 years in the 80s, and I was on the committees that did all our criminal justice stuff. And the Democrats ran the place, and we did very reasonable stuff. I mean, this would be completely alien to the Democrats I served with then. And then if you go back and you've seen the clips of Biden and Clinton and others in the 90s talking about getting tough on crime, and then they do this sort of thing. Yeah. And then the mayor afterwards, I mean, their big concern is that, the conservatives or Republicans will use it to hurt the Democrats. That's just, it's so bloodless, Jamie.
Don't show the video. Don't show the video. It's really crazy. It's amazing. Well, Jimmy, it's always good to talk to you, and I appreciate your time. I know you're busy, but it's great to talk to you, my friend.
Okay, we'll do it again soon.
That is the great Jim Talent, my friends. Yes, indeed. Thank you, buddy. How many of you, I know there are people laughing about President Trump's just face-on response to protesters last night in a D.C. restaurant, but I don't know if you've seen the video or not, but I was in a state of mild panic watching how unprotected these guys were in that restaurant. Talk more about that on the other side of this. And also, my friends, today is Rick Pogue Day, so we're going to follow up on that. And we're also going to nail down, Congressman Eric Burlington, from Missouri, apparently was slipped a UFO tape. So we're going to effort to get him on the air with us in the 1 o'clock hour to talk about that. Happy Wednesday to all of you and yours. This is Common Sense Radio, the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
News, analysis.
I'm glad you're talking about this.
Opinion.
I'm glad you're fired up about it, too, because I know I am.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about Clayton Sleep and the Clayton Sleep Institute. It's hugely important for all of you to know the linkage between, we talk about people's diets and all those kinds of things, and I get that. But, man, sleep is a really huge component of your overall well-being, your health well-being. So when you're not sleeping, and it might be restless leg syndrome, it might be insomnia, it might be sleep apnea or whatever. When you're not sleeping, your body is punishing you because, first of all, it's a metabolism slowing down, so you're getting fat because you're not sleeping. Your productivity is zero. Right around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you're starting to crash because your sleep was bad. Some people think they're getting 8 hours of sleep, but those are the people who are snoring all night long and also disrupting other people's sleep, but also snoring all night long and really not getting sleep. Their breathing is stopping, whatever else. Sleep apnea is a really bad thing, also a dangerous thing. So Dr. Ojal, who's been a longtime friend of mine, longtime friend of Common Sense Radio, has the St. Louis Sleep Institute, the Clayton Sleep Institute, claytonsleep.com. And you can go spend a night in one of the clinics there, get monitored by one of the experts all night long, and then they'll go ahead and consult with you on the numbers and all the things that they've come up with. Or you can have take-home apparatus, and they can make it easier for you there if that's not your comfort level of sleeping out someplace overnight. So they can take care of you either way. He's been my sleep guru for going on 25 years now. It's Dr. Joe Ojal, claytonsleep.com. That's claytonsleep.com.
Is your backyard a battleground every evening? Swatting, itching, kids running back inside? Hey, Tim Jones here. I just found out about a new local company, Mosquito Nix, that can take care of all that and more. They offer permanent automatic mosquito and tick protection, not just fogging, real coverage you don't have to think about. They've helped over 40,000 families nationwide take back their yards with their automatic mosquito control system. Now they're offering a free fogging treatment to introduce themselves to St. Louis families. Call 636-698-1980 now or visit mosquitonix.com. Say goodbye to bug bites this summer. Service area restrictions do apply. Tell them Tim Jones sent you. Ask about their back-to-school special. St. Louis summers don't last forever, but mosquito bites shouldn't either. Call 636-698-1980. Visit mosquitonix.com. That's mosquitonix.com. This is a limited time offer.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever I'm at, home, car, wherever.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Just the convenience on the phone.
Streaming live on the mobile app.
Love the new app.
And listen anytime,
everywhere,
anywhere.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. It's not unusual to have fun with anyone. But when I see you hanging about with anyone, it's not unusual to see me cry.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Allman Report here on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here, super happy to be with you. And, you know, it's always fun until someone gets hurt, you know. And I'm watching President Trump at this restaurant. At first it goes really well because he comes in and he gets cheered and everybody is greeting him and everything else. And so this is what this is how he was met there.
Thank you. We have a safe city now. Great job. Can you imagine? We did it in 12 days, but now it's almost a month. We have a safe city. So that's good. Enjoy yourself. You won't be mugged going home, okay? Have a good time, everybody. Right.
Yeah. So that was great. Yeah, but then, and this is what really freaked me out about this, because I see it's not only President Trump, it's his entire cabinet. I'm pretty sure I saw Hegseth there, I saw Rubio there, and they're walking through the restaurant, and then suddenly at some point, all these people start to heckle him. So in the video, you can see they're at a table and they're standing there and they've got these Palestinian flags and everything else. And so a couple of things are going on here. And unless every fourth person in that restaurant is a Secret Service agent pretending to be a diner, I consider this to be a Secret Service fail, big time. And honestly, the number of people who want President Trump dead, the number of people who want to hurt his cabinet, the number of people who want to bring harm to him is so high. I can't even believe. And again, here are the optics I think some people were thinking about. Well, when President Trump goes into a restaurant and declares it safe, we don't want him surrounded by a bunch of armed guards. And I'm thinking, the hell we don't. Because even rallies are looked upon as being, you have all these friendly people at the rallies, right? But that doesn't mean that President Trump should not have the utmost protection when it comes to the Secret Service and everything else. And so you can't take any chances. And so, and again, you think, what is he afraid of that, not President Trump, what are these guys afraid of that somehow, or is people afraid of that somehow the New York Times will say, yeah, President Trump declared it safe, but he has guards. It's like, he's the president of the United States. So I'm looking at this video, and he goes right up to these protesters. And in many ways, it's awesome because he goes right up to the protesters and basically stares them down, which is great, but I don't see any Secret Service agents there. And I'm thinking to myself, why are we taking chances like this? Like, why is this happening? Why are not there people just, eventually they got kicked out of the restaurant, thankfully. But, if I'm telling you, it just looked dangerous to me. And we've already been through it once where we had to see him shot on live television. And then another plot that was unfolding. And then here he is walking right into a crowd of people calling him Hitler. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And then on top of that, I mean, he's literally like 10 feet away from these people. And so, it's just unbelievable. And here's the other thing that's very disturbing. Somebody tipped off these people that he would be there. Because I don't know about you, but there aren't many people who carry around a Palestinian flag in their pocket, like a handkerchief. And so this was obviously a setup by somebody inside the restaurant. And I'm just, even if you go back to Robert Kennedy and everything else, and even if you go back to that time, and he was walking through that kitchen at that restaurant and he was shot to death. I just don't know. I don't know. I really honestly, and I love the fact that President Trump can get out and go to dinner or whatever. But gee whiz, take the Secret Service with you, for crying out loud. Give us a break here and give us a fighting chance here. But what you're seeing in this video, I don't even know who's taking the video. It's obviously it's not anybody from the administration taking the video. So when I'm watching the video, I'm watching J.D. Vance pass within 2 inches of the camera. So the vice president's there too. And then you have Pete Hegseth right there. And I think I saw Marco Rubio, and they're walking right by this cell phone. And I'm trying to think, like, how did this go down? I'd like to know exactly what the preparations were in terms of security here, because these guys are just walking all around there. And you've got the president and the vice president together in the same place in a restaurant. So to me, and again, I love these guys, but to me, this was really reckless. And I think a complete and total Secret Service fail. And it went on the internet and a lot of conservative sites says, look at President Trump trolling these Palestinian protesters. And all I could see was danger, 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 danger. And maybe I'm just paranoid. You think I'm just paranoid? I don't know. I mean, Here's the thing. Just because you think someone's out to get you doesn't mean they're not out to get you. You know what I mean? And so maybe I'm a little jumpy, but sorry. After watching one of my political heroes almost shot to death on live television with a headshot, I'm going to be a little paranoid a little bit. But I mean, obviously, if they're not worried about it, I guess I'm not worried about it. But sometimes I think these guys are taking chances that they do not need to take, people. Yeah. That was unusual. This is Common Sense Radio. You're in the right place. News Talk STL. The Allman Report, the 3 Martini Lunch, 101.9 and 94.1.
It's not unusual to be mad with anyone.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk. Live and local.
I need to know what's going on in my city.
News Talk STL.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about Window World and all that Window World will do for you indeed. These windows, by the way, are thermally superior to all the rest. They have double panes, and they're going to keep the air conditioning in and the heat in, and they're going to make your home look beautiful too, because they're really super great looking windows from both the inside and the outside of your home. So all you have to do is know that they are simply the best for less. 314-993-1800, the preferred window of the St. Louis Blues. So that's really cool too. And they're one of the 2 windows in the country with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval, as well as they're ranked number 1 in windows sold in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. Window World also really does love its windows quite a bit, people. Window World loves their windows so much that they back the windows with a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. So these are double strength windows. You can get a free home estimate. What they'll do is the person will come in and you can ask them to stand on the window just to prove it won't break. And man, is that going to be fantastic for you. So check it out. 314-993-1800, 314-993-1800. Simply the best for less.
Success. It's discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us that comes before all recognition. It's the best in each of us, made better by the best in all of us. Whatever success looks like to you, Stifel is invested in yours. That's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. So whether you're an advisor or an investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Join us for the annual St. Louis County Lincoln Reagan Day Dinner on Saturday, September 27th at the River City Casino Hotel Ballroom. Hear from top Missouri state and federal officials, plus special guest federal IRS agent Joseph Ziegler, who played a key role in the Hunter Biden investigation. Enjoy dinner, networking, and a silent auction. For tickets, call Renee Artman at 314-398-6667 or email reneeartman1530@gmail.com.
Hey, the Gemini Wealth Group, really honestly, people, the Gemini Wealth Group and Jeff Portman are there for you to make sure that when you are retired or about to retire, that you have the best laid plans to make sure you are truly in your golden years. And let me tell you something. It is amazing what these guys are going to do for you. Let's say you're 55, 50 years old, whatever. The reality is you need to prepare for your retirement. So that means you need to go over what you have invested. Like, for instance, are you diversified properly? And as Jeff pointed out when he was on the air here, it's not about diversifying in a situation where you're just all over the map. You got to really focus on a situation where you are investing in strong investments. So you can diversify, but make sure you're diversified in only the most diverse, strong investments, as opposed to putting it all over the map. So that they focus in on that. They make sure that you're going to have an accountability for all of your situations where you have your health care and all of your housing expenses, all that kind of stuff, even your tax situation. So you're living 20, 30 years past your retirement age. So you got to make sure you give yourself a fighting chance in your retirement. And the Gemini Wealth Group will do just that for you. The GeminiWealthGroup.com, the GeminiWealthGroup.com, or please call Jeff Portman directly at 314-888-0123.
Colombo and Company. We've seen some progress this week in the Missouri Special Legislative Session. We'll find out if that continues Wednesday when we talk to Rodney Boyd and Rep. Justin Sparks, plus Danny Define and closest cabinet.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here. Super happy to be with you. Al Shin over there. And this is News Talk STL 101.9 and 94.1. And this thing in Charlotte. I mean, I got to tell you, when I was talking to Jim about this, at least the left is consistent because they don't really care about blacks either. So, so they don't care about this poor woman who was killed. But they also don't care about black people either, because they don't care about the revolving door. All they care about is virtue signaling and making sure that they come across as being sympathetic. It is toxic compassion is what we call that. And then they blame it on mental illness, whatever, and they're blaming it on a lack of police, whatever, and that's not there. It is a revolving door. They want to increase funding for our mental health situation or whatever. And yet at the same time, he's been in the system 14 times before all this. And whatever system they had didn't flag him as mentally ill, if indeed that's the case. Now, keep in mind, he said afterwards that I killed that white girl. But now something is making the rounds around the internet, and it is a discussion with his sister. And his sister sounds very reasonable. He's talking from jail, and his sister sounds very reasonable. But keep in mind, this guy is not stupid. And in fact, the individuals who he's talking to really is not his sister. He's trying to talk to other people to claim somehow there's something in his body. He's making all this crap up because he wants to be able to avoid the death penalty and whatever. And he wants to be able to be in a situation where he could somehow not be responsible for his actions, even though he was heard afterwards talking about and bragging about killing that white girl. And so that's how this whole thing is going. Listen to this.
So you said something in your body did what?
Nah, the material, put it like this, the material using my body to stab the lady.
And so she just got stabbed.
Yeah. You know that's not me. I'm talking about just for no reason. But since they did that, now they got to investigate the material in my body exposed to. Since they want to do all that, now they got to investigate.
It's funny because she's from the Ukraine. She's from Russia, and they got a war. They had a war going on against the United States. So I'm just trying to understand, out of all people, why her?
It ain't. I don't have nothing. They just lashed out on her. That's what happened. They lashed out on her. Whoever was working the material, they lashed out on her.
Yeah. So he says this material is in his body and everything else, and it's just the material speaking and all this kind of stuff. And it's a total fake lie. I mean, he did call 911 making the same kind of claims, but he also, after he shot her, after he stabbed her, said that he killed that white girl. So this guy knows what he's doing and should be punished to the full extent of the law. And then you've got people like Van Jones. And, Van Jones sometimes does make a little bit of sense, but here he is covering for him again.
We don't know why that man did what he did. We don't know how to deal with people who were hurting in the way this man was hurting. Hurt people hurt people. What happened was horrible. No one mentioned the word race, white, black, or anything except him.
Yeah. So it's him who is hurting. It's the killer who is hurting. And again, the reality is this is consistent, at least with their view, because keep in mind, one of the reasons why it was so important and critical to get the National Guard, not only in D.C., but also in Chicago, it wasn't to protect a bunch of white people. It was to protect, because the people who were committing the most amount of crime were, in fact, the people who were black, and the people who were the victims, for the most part, were black. So this isn't President Trump just trying to punish a bunch of black people the way some people are trying to couch it. This is President Trump trying to protect black people. When I talked to Mark Kaysen yesterday, and he said he was going to find me somebody who would come on the air and say they don't want the National Guard in their community, black people. And I said, well, find me one. I've given him, he's had 24 hours now, and he never gave me one name of one black person, because I said, I'll have the person on the air to talk to them about why they're afraid to have the National Guard in their cities. And I would school them. And by the way, here's something else you folks should remember when it comes to the National Guard. The National Guard has a history of helping black people, and Republicans have a history of using the National Guard to help black people. You know that too? Because if you go back to the days of Dwight Eisenhower and the days of racist Democrat Alabama Governor George Wallace, you do remember when George Wallace stood in front of a school door and prevented a little black girl from entering into the school. You guys know what Dwight Eisenhower did? Do you guys remember this story? I know a lot of people in the media don't, and they don't care. Dwight Eisenhower called in the National Guard. He called in the National Guard to give safe passage to the black girl who went into to go to school. So I'm surprised some of the Trump folks and stuff haven't brought this up, and I think that we probably should bring it up if we can. So it would be super nice to be able to have a situation where we could show people that the National Guard has a history of helping people, black people namely, and also has a history of protecting them from Democrats. Pretty good story, isn't it? And it has the added benefit of being true. So a really outstanding thing that we need to bring up in these situations. By the way, Sotomayor, the Supreme Court justice, was on The View. And that, of course, is fairly inexplicable. And because I don't know, I think Supreme Court justices ought to be free to do whatever they want to do, I guess, interviews, whatever. But this is solely because Sotomayor has been bitching about the Supreme Court decisions that have supported President Trump's infusion of the National Guard to protect our cities and protect black people, and also the seizure of illegal aliens and violent ones and criminal ones off of the streets of cities all over. And so, of course, Sotomayor, this wasn't a fully planned thing. This was something that was off the cuff and right out of the bat. And And then Whoopi Goldberg basically face plants with like this really dumb question. And here's how that went.
And we know that you can't comment on legal cases pending, but as Sonny said, you know, the ruling yesterday about ICE raids, I'm just curious, how are they going to know who is who?
Read my dissent.
Where can people find these dissents? Because I think people always think they're not available to regular folks. Is there?
I mean, but by the way, one of the things, and this is, I mean, this is so embarrassing because it shows that these individuals in the news media and beyond, they're so clueless. Like they keep on talking on and on and on and on. And yet they don't even realize you can go on the internet and you can listen to the Supreme Court justices while they're debating issues. You can listen to the proceedings online.
Place to how
online.
Hey, yeah.
Where can people?
I know people. I guess it's a secret. I know things like this take place in secret.
People find these dissents? Because I think people always think they're not available to regular folks. Is there a place to how?
Online.
Online.
Oh, online? What does online mean? It's on the computer there, Whoopi. That's all you got to do.
And you search online the way you search anything. The Supreme Court's decision yesterday. You can start there.
Yeah.
All right. Sotomayor dissent yesterday. Nome, that's one of the names in the case. The Nome Supreme Court decision. Search bar, it'll pop right up.
Wow. Whoopi learning right there in real time how to use the internet.
How do I do that? How do I look this up?
Yeah, it's like glad you're catching on there, Whoopi. It's about time.
The Supreme Court website, supremecourt.gov.
Oh, really? I'm surprised you didn't say, "Hey, Whoopi, it's www.supremecourt.gov."
Yeah. Has all our decisions
You mean the World Wide Web?
immediately when they're issued.
But
So you don't even have to wait
They
for
keep
the
defunding the Department of Education. How is going to be reading these dissents?
Right, exactly. Actually, now that the Department of Education is defunded, maybe people will start to be able to read better the dissents and beyond of these individuals. But my goodness gracious, this is so crazy, and the lack of knowledge is so unbelievable. And actually to go ahead and kind of spitball live like that without knowing anything beforehand. I mean, I guess, not everybody is a big time show prepper or whatever, but my goodness gracious, you'd think that they would have thought more about that. All right, coming up, ladies and gentlemen. So this really strange thing happened yesterday, and I haven't talked much about it. And that is about the UFO thing and these, apparently there was an interception of a UFO and all this kind of stuff. And none other than Congressman Eric Burleson, he was somehow wrapped into all this because somebody slipped him a video of an unidentified flying object, possibly some kind of spaceship or whatever. And so he's got to give a speech at 1:30. So I am trying to grab him, and we're going to try to grab him right before that speech because I have to find out more about this video. My feeling is it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if there are not only other forms of life out there, but also other forms of technology. It's kind of odd how people, when they talk about aliens and stuff, they always give aliens like a head and two eyes and a mouth and two arms and two legs. And my feeling is an alien could be a dot of some sort. I mean, who knows? Who knows what is out there? But it's so funny how we always kind of, every time somebody's like kidnapped, abducted by an alien, they say it looked like it had two eyes and two heads and one head and two arms. They always look like human beings, but I don't know. Intriguing though. We'll see what the congressman has to say. Also, ladies and gents, I found this grocery store that is doing really a cool thing with kids and grades. Going to follow up on that. And Rick Pogue, yeah, it's Wednesday. It's Common Sense Radio.
Springtime in St. Louis, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peters did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Looking for a hardware store that treats you like family? Welcome to True Value Schneider's Hardware, your local gem in Old Town St. Peters. For over 100 years, we're proudly serve you St. Charles County, providing everything from lawn and garden supplies to plumbing and electrical. Need a bolt or fastener? We've got you covered. And don't forget, we're a steel dealership. Whether you need sales, parts, or service, ask for Charlie or Jerry when you come in. We're here to help. Call 636-278-4461 or visit us online at truevalue.com/Schneiders.
The Washington Guard presents the 4th Annual Patriots Banquet, The Price of Freedom, honoring real American heroes. Join us October 11th at Parish Hall in Union, Missouri. Hear from featured speakers Doug Giles, founder of Warriors and Wild Men, and Marine Colonel Jack Jackson, Harrier jet fighter pilot. Master of Ceremonies Jamie Allman will host this inspiring evening. For tickets, visit thewashingtonguard.com. Use code NewsTalkSTL for $10 off.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm John Scott. Poland and its NATO allies shooting down Russian drones as Russia launched aerial attacks on Ukraine. BBC correspondent Adam Easton is in Warsaw.
Both Polish jets and Dutch jets, which are stationed currently in Poland as part of the NATO air policing exercise, were scrambled. They tracked some of these drones that violated Polish airspace on radar, and they shot down those drones, which were deemed to be a threat. We don't know how many. We know that Polish police have discovered a damaged drone in a village not that far from the Belarusian border, not the Ukrainian border.
Regarding another battlefront, President Trump says he wasn't notified in advance of Israel's attack on Hamas leaders in Qatar. Tuesday's strike on a building in Doha. Former Vice President Kamala Harris says Joe Biden's re-election decision should not have been left to him. White House correspondent Greg Clugston with a report.
In her new book, Harris says it was recklessness for Democrats to leave it to President Biden to decide whether to continue seeking another term last year. According to an excerpt published in The Atlantic, the former VP writes that the stakes were simply too high for the 81-year-old Biden to make that choice. Despite her criticism of Biden's decision to run again, Harris defends his ability to do the job, saying he would get tired but was not incapacitated. Greg Clugston, Washington.
A charter plane has left for the U.S. to bring back Korean workers detained at an immigration raid in Georgia. A total of 475 workers, more than 300 of them South Koreans, rounded up in the September 4th raid at the battery factory under construction at Hyundai's sprawling auto plant west of Savannah. The Dow dropping 254 points, but the Nasdaq ahead 29. More at townhall.com.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, everything you need and nothing you...
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Sunny skies and warm temperatures topping out in the upper 80s today. Still not too humid, so a fairly comfortable day, but unfortunately a dry one, and we could really use some rain. Don't see any consequence anytime soon. Lows tonight in the 60s and highs tomorrow near 90 degrees, and by the weekend, we'll be in the mid-90s. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Looking for insurance you can truly trust? Since 1986, Bauer Insurance Agency has been protecting families and businesses across Missouri and Illinois. Owner Cindy Blanton doesn't just offer one quote. She shops all the top carriers like Progressive, Travelers, Safeco, and more to find you the best rates. Whether it's your home, auto, toys, or business, we've got you covered. Visit us at Mid-Rivers Mall in St. Peters or call 636-812-2001. Bauer Insurance Agency, the company that protects, the name you can trust.
The Wallner home selling team of Berkshire Hathaway. I love Rodney and Jen so much, I decided I have to be part of the team, and now I am. One of the many real estate agents with the Wallner home selling team to serve you. 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD. Of course, we're great when it comes to listing your home. We create a hugely competitive environment. We get all the drone shots, we get all the pictures, and we have people fight over your home, which means you get the top price for your home you are going to find anywhere in the land. And also at the same time, you are getting the lowest commission of anybody in the land. So that is cool. I'm mostly a buyer's agent, so I help these wonderful people, families, individuals, whatever, find the home of their dreams. I do really super hard work for you, as does the entire team. And I'm there before, during, and after the sale for you, after closing, everything else. I will help you out and get you that home, get you the best price for the home, because, you know, if the sellers all want the top dollar, but I always make sure that we negotiate and get everything right in order for you to be comfortable with a purchase of a lifetime. 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
Have burdens on my shoulders all my life. I tried to leave them all behind. But freedom's one thing I could never find. I said a prayer from the banks of a river. God met me there, showing me something better.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Common Sense Radio. Jamie Allman here with you, and that is the great Jamie McDonald, who is coming to St. Louis, actually, in November. Great, brand new, emerging Christian artist, and I can't get enough of her music and her style. She actually used to be a backup singer for a lot of these really world-famous people, you know? And now she's on her own. It's really super cool, great story, and that's what's happening in your world this afternoon, and Jamie McDonald's world too. So, really interesting day yesterday in the life of Congressman Eric Burleson. He was all kind of wrapped up in this whole UFO thing, and then I hear that somebody slipped you a video of a UFO. Congressman Burleson, how you doing, man? By the way, thanks for all the great things you're doing on behalf of the Make America Great Again coalition up there in D.C. But let's talk UFOs. So what happened?
Yeah. Hey, Jamie. Good to
Hey.
be on. Yeah, it was weird. I got an anonymous dead drop in the form of a video with a description. And so rather than just sit on it and try to do forensics or get it verified, I'm taking the posture that I'm going to release things and let the public decide what it is. It is a very fascinating video. I'm not claiming that this is 100% accurate because I don't know, but it is just very interesting to see a missile attempt to take out this object and then basically fail to do so. And then what's really interesting in the video is that it appears like there's 3 fragments from the impact or from the missile that trail with this object as it continues to fly. So it's, at the end of the day, it was pretty interesting. And I'll let the internet sleuths figure out what that is.
So do we know where in the sky this is, or do we have any information on where this is?
Yeah, I was told that the details were that it was filmed on October 30th of 2024 off the coast of Yemen. And so you can imagine there was that's probably a time frame where you had Houthis or any kind of, where there was that kind of activity there.
Yeah.
But it really begs the question, like, how was this object hostile that caused them to shoot the missile at it? And why didn't the missile take it out? It kind of begs those kind of questions.
Yeah. Well, because and whose missile was it then? Do we know?
It was us.
It was us. Okay. I know whether it was like the Houthis or the Yemenis or whatever, but so it was us. Wow. And so, and is there some kind of military documentation of this event? Like like it was not released by the military. You kind of got it slipped to you as a video. So do you know, or is there a possibility
No, I'm not aware of any event that was reported for that happening at that time.
Wow. I mean, this is really interesting. And I guess, how do you think and how do you feel about just the whole UFO thing in general? Obviously you're seeing something, and whether or not it could be an AI thing, it could be this or it could be that, but you're seeing something. How much have you been briefed, or how much has anybody in Congress been briefed over what's going on out there?
Yeah, I've been in briefings both in the public and out, in a skiff, and been told multiple times that this is a real phenomenon and the details about the whole UAP topic and the aliens and everything, like all of it. I've been told that. But again, that's just what people tell me. I personally am not going to buy that they're aliens from another planet until I see them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or, and actually see real photos and videos that are clear, as opposed to all this blurry stuff that keeps getting sent out. But
right.
But my posture is, the reason why I released that video is that it's not, I don't own the American people. The American people own this government, and I work for them. And rather than try to protect that, try to gatekeep it, I'm just going to be transparent and it was given to me, I'm gonna release it.
Yeah. Did you have any pushback on you releasing that?
Oh yeah.
Like
through channels, people have expressed frustration with me.
Oh.
So
you mean at Pentagon levels or?
I'll have to. So one of my colleagues, Anna Polina Luna, who was in the hearing, she kind of just reached out to me last night and said that she's had some conversations with she didn't say which agency, that they were frustrated.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. And I don't know whether that's because they're just trying to hide technology they have, even when it comes down to the missile or their capabilities, or they don't want to be seen as like shooting and missing, or something of that nature. And I think, I think we learned this. I'm talking to Congressman Eric Burleson, by the way. I think we learned a lot about this, Congressman, back in the day. Remember all the drones flying up there in Jersey? And then we had the balloon situation with China. And I think we're learning that, the technological capabilities of not only the Chinese, but also the United States of America are probably way beyond what even most normal people know of. And so you never know whether some of these things are actually pieces of equipment that have been developed and they're hypersonic or whatever, and we just don't know about them.
Right, that's right. But the question is, if we have game-changing technology, why is it being withheld from the American public who might benefit from it? So I think that either way, this government is lying to its citizens. I mean, Jared Moskowitz said it best in the hearing. I don't know what this phenomenon is. It could be little green men from another planet. I don't know. But what I do know is that our government is not being honest with the American people one way or another. So, for example, there was one article that came out recently in the New York Times that said that the whole UFO thing is a disinformation campaign to kind of, get people's attention away from the real technology that we have. Okay, well, why is the government participating in a lie, in a deceptive practice and lying to its entire citizenry and to the world in this way, right? And so, if that's the case, then why are you doing that? Why does this government think that it's okay to just lie and deceive the American people? It's either that, or it could be that this is non-human intelligence, and if that's the case, what government, this or any government, has the right to deny that information from humanity? That is not a government secret. It's not for them to keep secret.
Yeah, and Congressman Burleson, I think two things are possible here. One is that they don't want our enemies to know their capabilities. But then again, to your point, we want the enemies to know our capabilities, because if they kind of know our capabilities, then maybe they won't try something that otherwise we would have to try to divert. So we get that. So, or the other thing is, and this is a little darker, the other thing is that the government doesn't want to know what they could do to us, want us to know what they could do to us, meaning they don't want us to know what their capabilities are in the event that they'll use them against us. I don't think the Trump administration would be doing that, but President Trump, as we know, there's still people around in the deep state, in the military industrial complex, everything else, that are still around, and whether Trump's there or not, they're still pushing buttons and doing their thing.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And so this whole task force that we're on is really about addressing the fact that the government has way too many secrets, whether it's this topic or the JFK assassination that occurred, and or the RFK assassination, or the Epstein stuff. All of that belongs. That information should be made available to the American people, and this government should stop withholding information and stop lying about.
Yeah.
So we had to pass a bill. I wasn't there at the time, but Congress passed a bill. It was unanimous to have the JFK Disclosure Act, the Assassination Disclosure Act, and it was unanimously, like, Republican and Democrat in both the House and Senate. 535 people voted yes. Not a single person voted no. And that's what it took for the deep state to start releasing documents that are 70 years old about JFK, and we've learned a lot that's really changed. And that's probably a story that nobody's covering, but really the entire original narrative about Lee Harvey Oswald that the amount of information that's come out that really challenges that narrative is explosive.
Wow. Yeah, I agree with you. And it's funny how that doesn't get a whole lot of attention. And I got to tell you, too, the RFK murder, that is all so fishy. Anyway, aside from the Epstein stuff, the RFK murder, and I'm just surprised. I mean, it's interesting because you guys do have a lot of authority and a lot of power, but it's interesting you still can't break through on the RFK thing, or even for that matter, the Epstein thing, which is still confusing to me. I don't think President Trump is covering for pedophiles, but somebody is stonewalling. Somebody is kind of something out there is for some reason not being given to us.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of rumors that are crazy rumors that keep floating about that. And they're going to continue to be, because people, until they find out the truth, they're going to think the worst possible case scenario, right? And I agree with you. I don't think that Trump is, nefariously involved. I think that he probably is at a situation where the data doesn't exist. And the question really we should be asking is, why did our Department of Justice do such a crappy job of gathering this information and these documents? One thing, Jamie, I think people should never underestimate the laziness and apathy of federal workers, and so that could be the case, that there's nothing available for them to release, and they're just kind of stuck. But they're going to have to demonstrate it. I think that trying to hold that back it only makes you look worse, right? Only makes it look like that maybe there's something there.
Yeah.
And my advice is with the administration is release everything you have.
Yeah.
Redact the victims' names, but release everything you got.
And
let the public, like if there's if we find out that, for example, Bill Clinton was on a flight log that he went to on the plane and he went to the island. Okay, that's fine. Maybe there's exculpatory evidence that and there's a reason why he wasn't prosecuted, right? That he's innocent. Well, release that too, right? So I think they ought to just release everything. Let the internet do its job.
No doubt. And Congressman Burleson, you would think that given the situation that we've had in the past, the things that we're finding out, and all these things that make Watergate look like a play date, really. So you go back and even let's just start at being lied into war, right, in Iraq and beyond, and weapons of mass destruction, the purposeful lie about that. And then we fast forward to 2016 and the FBI and the CIA spying on Donald Trump and and then we had the Secret Service, which lapsed so much that it almost got President Trump killed. You'd think that after all this and the severe distrust in government, period, which the Democrats all complain about, we need to trust our institutions. Like, no way. You would think at that point, all President Trump and his administration has to do is take one more step towards just absolute transparency, fling open the cupboard doors,
Yeah, exactly. I think that he's a man of the people. The right thing to do would be to completely, and look, why protect the deep state? The deep state tried to throw him in jail. It's the same intelligence community that's being challenged here to release these documents. The same community that trumped up all these false charges against. I mean, it basically did a coup, a traitorous coup against a duly elected president. It's crazy. This same government lied to us about COVID and the origins of COVID. For what reason, right? Like the telling us that it came from some like bat or something at a wet market. It's total BS.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
And then now it's like, what? Okay, we have the shooter in Las Vegas. right? The guy, and that we have no information about his motives or who, what, anything. Nothing has been released. We had the shooter in Butler, Pennsylvania, right? The assassination attempt. We don't know anything about that young man or any information. Somehow the kid is remarkable at being able to scrub anything off of his devices and history, right? And then we don't know anything about this latest, the guy that was at the golf course. So why don't we know these things? That's what angers me. It frustrates me. The American people should get angry and should demand answers and accountability.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned the bat soup thing, because I know you got a speech to do soon here, but I know I'm glad you mentioned the bat soup thing, because I remember when that first came out, and I said, well, this sounds like the YouTube video lie from Libya, the bat soup thing. So again, think about all the lies that we've been told, and you're absolutely right. We're so glad you're out there, Anna Paulina Luna and the rest of the gang speaking some common sense up there in D.C. So, Congressman Eric Burleson, it's always a pleasure to have you on the air, and we're really happy to have you representing this great state up there in Washington, D.C., buddy.
Thank you, Jamie. Thanks for what you do.
All right. Thank you. That is Congressman Eric Burleson. That's crazy, man. That UFO thing is nuts. All right, coming up, I found these really cool videos. So really super inspiring. And you're not going to see them, but you're going to hear them. So, and you'll still love them. It's Common Sense Radio.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Oh, yes, indeed. Patriot Heating and Cooling, so thankful that Craig and Sean, a family-run operation, is supporting free, common sense, conservative radio. And Craig has been in the business for a long, long time, but has branched out on his own. Basically, what he's doing is creating a family legacy, which is really cool. And they're so good at what they do. I had them come out a while back, kind of almost at the beginning of the summer, when the cooler that handles the upstairs broke down. The thing outside broke down, and it wasn't working, and it was hotter than the hinges of Hades up there. And I called them. They were out lickety-splickety. Sean came out with Tyson. And he did a little bit of an investigation to check a couple things, because, you go in and exactly what's great is, especially with these guys, is they're not going to waste any time. They go in, they know exactly what to look for when something is out. So they're like 4 or 5 things you look at. And then finally, on that 4th thing they looked at, it was just this little part that looked almost like a elongated battery that had to be replaced. And Sean had the new part in his truck. It's just a little thing, pop it in there, and boom, we're back to being cool in the house again. It really is amazing. Love these guys. And by the way, don't forget, and I'll have Craig in maybe sometime next week. Don't forget that you got to make sure that especially, I know it's going to be hot the next few days, right? It's going to be in the 80s, whatever. And so you're not going to think about fall and autumn, and you're not going to think about turning on your furnace. But don't wait until you're actually turning on your furnace to know whether or not it's working properly. This is the time to get your fall tune-up. So go ahead and call PatriotHVACSTL.com. That's the website. Call PatriotHVACSTL.com.
Want to hear the best kept secret in St. Louis? Staff's Pizza. We're not afraid to compare squares. According to our customers, we have the best St. Louis style pizza anywhere, and we can't disagree. Dine in, pick up, or delivery in St. Peters, St. Charles, Lake St. Louis on Pond Trail, and the original Stefanita's in O'Fallon on Veterans Memorial Parkway. Check us out at staffspizza.com. Staff's Pizza. We're not afraid to compare squares.
Hi, it's Chris Arps, and I've been a customer of Royal Banks, Missouri for many years. They're a full-service, locally owned and operated community bank with 17 locations throughout the St. Louis area, including locations in Hannibal, Jerseyville, Granite City, as well as 2 locations in St. Charles. Plus, given today's headlines in the overall banking industry, it is reassuring to know Royal Banks of Missouri has the highest financial ratings in St. Louis for stability and strength. Royal Banks of Missouri is reinvesting in its hometown University City. They've now opened the doors to their new location at 8550 Olive Boulevard at the corner of Olive and McKnight. Stop by to see their refreshed look with the same exceptional Royal Bank service you know and trust. Learn more about the move in University City by visiting royalbanksofmo.com today. That's Royal Banks of Missouri, the community bank for your community. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Whether at home or at work, you're mobile.
So when you're mobile, stay mobile.
Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com.
News, analysis, opinion.
National Guard troops posted around the district.
We are removing many criminals from the streets.
I think the president made the right call on it.
That's too much. We don't need troops in the city.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. 3 martini lunch. First time I ever heard this song, I was a freshman in college, and my girlfriend Mary, blonde-haired cheerleader from Virginia Beach, was a big fan. She eventually dumped me, but nonetheless, we had some fun while it lasted. And I'll never forget, U2 was coming to this bar in Madison, Wisconsin called Merlin's. And it was a bar that held probably about 200 people or something. That's how small the band was at the time. And we didn't go. Great story, Jamie. No, we just didn't go. We'll see him another time. And then the rest is history. It's kind of a It could have been a great story. I first saw them at a bar. I was one of 200 people in a bar on State Street in Madison, Wisconsin, and that was not to be the case. All right, so I sometimes on these Facebook reels, I tend to have a situation where I'm not like a lot of the reels when you hit that Facebook reel button, like you see car crashes and surveillance video, people getting murdered and robbery, that kind of stuff. But I've managed to kind of train my Facebook reel system. I don't know whether it's just because of the things I hit, whatever I love. Like sometimes there's these Bible passages that come through that I love. I did I saw another one I would have to deal with. It's called the Bible Bee. There's a Bible Bee where people go up and they have to do by memory a Bible passage. It's really cool. I'll bring that to you tomorrow. It's called a Bible Bee. And then of course that's where I picked up on Jamie McDonald and all kinds of I don't know how I did it, but I must have trained it so that I only see nice things now, which is kind of cool. I mean, every once in a while I'll see pranksters and stuff like that because I like the prank guys or comedians, whatever. But this really struck me. This is a grocery store. I'm pretty sure it's in New York. It doesn't say where it is. And so the grocery store proprietor has a challenge for the kids. If the kids come in and bring their grades with them, and their grades are in the 90s, they get $100 from the guy and can pick out anything they want. This is a small little corner grocery store, bodega, if you don't mind me saying. And all these, most of these kids are black or Latino, which is great too. And they come in and and at the end they have to show them their report card. And if it's good enough, it gives them $100 and they can get anything they want to.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi.
What's your name?
Damaris.
Who?
Damaris.
Damaris.
So basically what happens is word gets around the street that if you bring in a 90 plus report card, the guy who runs the store will reward you.
Damaris. What grade are you in, Damaris?
12.
You in 12th grade?
Yes.
You finished? That's it?
Yeah.
Let's go. What are you going to do?
I want to be a sonographer, ultrasound tech.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's go. Let's check her report card, guys. She got a 90 plus average, 90.13. But she had a 65 in biology. What's going on with biology?
It's been a tough year.
Huh?
It's been a tough year.
Tough year?
Yeah.
Well, you passed it.
Yeah, so she has more 90 plus, but he's like, hey, what about the 65? You know,
Sort of.
You did it.
Yeah.
65 is passing. So listen, when you get a 90 plus average, you get $100. All right?
she has a $100 bill.
You're welcome, and you get an Allman T-shirt.
Oh my gosh, it's pink. Thank
Like
you.
it?
Yeah.
All right, and you get to grab whatever you want. Go ahead, grab it.
Okay.
And you know what's crazy is I must have watched 10 of these videos, and every single one of these kids, he says you can grab anything you want, and they grab like 3 things. And he's like, you know, someone could grab like 1 thing, and he'll say, no, I told you could grab anything you want. He makes them go back and grab more potato chips. And I noticed that I've seen a couple kids, they get eggs, which is clearly probably something that mom or dad, you know, had them get, but they get eggs.
Damaris, let's go. That's all you want?
Yeah, that's it.
You sure?
Yeah.
So she has like 3 bags of potato chips, a carton of eggs, and it looks like an iced coffee. And she's told she could grab anything that she wants to from that grocery store. Pretty humble, isn't it? Pretty amazing. These are
I'll
kids.
give you a bag. Put everything in the bag. There you go.
And then he says, "You want to go get some more?" She goes, no. She's like, no. Here's another one.
Hey,
Kai McCoy.
Kai, how you doing, Kai?
Cool.
That's Kai right there. Yo, this is my first time looking at his report card. So he got 97, 90, 98, 98, 95, 90. All your grades is in the 90s. Let me see your average, bro.
Lock in.
What's your average?
96.
96? Guys, 96.17. That's his average right there. Listen, man. Today you're gonna get an Allman T-shirt.
Thank you.
All right. You're gonna get to grab whatever you want. You're gonna get to go play at the Kickback Gamers Lounge. You just gotta show them your report card.
All right, bet.
And you're gonna get $100.
Thank you.
Go ahead, grab whatever you want, bro.
So he goes and grabs whatever he wants. These are really sweet. He grabs 1 thing of potato chips and a bottle of orange juice.
Bro, don't tell me that, bro.
All right.
He makes them go back and get some more stuff. He's like, come on.
That's all?
That's all. Thank
All
you.
right, man. Yo,
Then all he does is get another bag of Cheez-Its and then like some other thing. But, you know, the great thing about this is on a couple of different levels, it's very touching, first of all, to see these kids going into the corner grocery store, and they obviously have a relationship with the guy, but they don't even really, he has to ask them their name. He doesn't really know them, but they can go in there because the word around the street is if you go in there, he will give you $100 if you're above 90 in your grades and let you pick out anything you want to. So you have that community engagement that really is almost unheard of to a certain degree. If anything, because some people don't want to get involved in some other kids' stuff, giving them money and stuff like that, because heaven knows what could come out of that with the way people are these days. But the other thing that's really amazing is these kids and there are a bunch of them. And there were a couple who came in and they didn't make it. They didn't get the $100, but they could grab anything they wanted to because they were like in the 70s or something like that, or 80s. They're littler kids. But nonetheless, they are so humble. I mean, they're allowed to get anything they want to. And they're not, this is not a wealthy neighborhood or whatever. So it's not really, I'm not really familiar as what neighborhood is, but it doesn't appear to be wealthy because you see a little bit of the outside and that kind of thing. But when they are allowed the chance to get anything they want, they humbly come and get a carton of eggs for the parents, right? And then a couple bags of chips and a couple sodas, and that's it. When literally they could fill a shopping cart up if they wanted to, but they don't. Vicky's asking me what site. It's on. This is actually from Instagram, but it winds up on Facebook. I don't know how that works. But this is posted by a Instagram account called God Story. What's your story? So God Story, you can look that up and see about that. But I could watch videos like that all day long. Much the way I thought about Mary, the cheerleader from Virginia Beach, all day long one day for a time. Until I was told I couldn't. Thank you for the memories, you two. Hey, coming up, he is our business guru and all-around great guy, Rick Pogue. It's Common Sense Radio.
News, analysis, opinion.
Don't always agree, but in love listening to your radio station.
This is tyrannical stuff they're doing.
Elections have consequences. This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everybody. And let me tell you something about Gulf Shores Restaurant and Grill, GulfShoresRestaurantandGrill.com. Gulf Shores, Harry Parker, he's been just a longtime friend of mine and of Common Sense Conservative Radio. There is no event that is supportive of our law enforcement or our veterans that he will not embrace or even organize himself. Just an amazing guy. And he's got that spirit. He and Erica, who run the food truck, by the way. So if you go to GulfShoresRestaurantandGrill.com, the chances are pretty good you can kind of find out where the food truck's going to be on any given day. And you can go out there and grab some tacos or do whatever, Nolan style, fish tacos, what have you, or you can just go to the restaurants, which I always love to do for your happy hour or for your dinners or your lunches even. And those St. Peter's is the brand new one, or almost brand, semi-brand new. The one in Creve Coeur, which is the original one, and then, of course, the one in Edwardsville. And the menu is expansive. I'm telling you what, there's nothing in terms of seafood that is off the menu. So he's covering all the bases. I happen to really like the fish tacos. Love the red snapper. You can get it fried or whatever way you want to do it. They cut their own fish. They make all their own sauces, all the spices. Everything comes from the heritage of Nolan's and Harry Parker's amazing Nolan's traditional family. And so you're going to really love it. The prices are great. These days you want value, right? Well, I guarantee you're taking some of it home. I mean, the portions are gigantic and the prices are absolutely, positively, perfectly reasonable, if not lower than some other restaurants. Gulf Shores Restaurantandgrill.com. That's Gulf Shores Restaurantandgrill.com.
Summer is here, and that means it's time to gear up at Whistle Pig Outdoors on Main in Troy. Mike Ferguson here for my friends at Whistle Pig Outdoors, family owned and operated by hunters who know their stuff. Beat the heat with premium Costa sunglasses and American-made Grizzly coolers that keep everything ice cold. Upgrade your bow at their full-service archery shop. Expert technician on staff for Hoyt and Bear bows. Call 636-775-1110 or visit Main Street in Troy. Whistle Pig Outdoors, your year-round outdoor headquarters.
Tom Shaw Realtors, representing the sale and development of more than 150,000 acres. Selling, buying. Call Tom, 636-432-1922. Ask about hunting leases. ShawRealtors.com.
Dude, this house is perfect. Crumbs everywhere, sticky counters. I've already texted the colonies.
Sweet, I'll bring my 500 cousins. This will be the biggest ant rager of the summer.
Let's party! Wait, oh, what's that sound? Oh, no, it's those trucks with the green wheels. Party's over, man. Party's over.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. We'd love to help you out. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 636-486-7888.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
You know, I go into a lot of homes, as you know, because I am a real estate agent. And yeah, I could talk about what Woods Basement Systems has done for my two homes. They're amazing at what they do in waterproofing and even just repairing whatever foundational problems you might have, and including installing sump pumps and that kind of thing, which is what they did for me as well in my original home right there in Richmond Heights. But I will tell you that I see their stickers all over the place when I go in, which means more and more people, as you know, are knowing that Woods Basement Systems is going to do a good job for them because they're all over the place. I see, in somebody's basement, I'm knowing, then I know I've got peace of mind. I can even talk to the potential buyers and say it's a good company, but of course we'll have it all inspected, but it's a great company and everything else, and it's got the sump pump here and everything else. So they do such a great job. All things basement-y. They are the highest rated and most reviewed in their line of work. And all you have to do is go to jamieloveswoods.com, jamieloveswoods.com. And they also want you to know that they do foundation repair and of course the waterproofing. And this season they're doing a repair for shifting, settling concrete slabs like patios and driveways. So they do concrete leveling for you as well. Sometimes that can be a result of water problems or whatever, but the reality is it's an added component of what Woods Basement Systems will do for you. Concrete leveling they've added on top of waterproofing and doing a great job for you. JamieLovesWoods.com, JamieLovesWoods.com.
On the next
Larry Connors USA.
We are waiting to see the latest reactions after Israel strikes targets in Qatar.
Larry Connors USA.
Now weeknights 6 until 8
on News Talk STL.
Come over to my house, jump in the neighbor's pool. It felt nice. It felt so nice. And it was getting dark. You wrapped your long legs around me. I held on tight, lying in my bed. The unfamiliar sheets were so cool. On your
Good afternoon, everyone.
When your daddy called, said you were out of friends, and we walked
Welcome
a long way
to the Allman Report.
Going on my first impression.
News Talk STL. Jenny Allman here with you. Ashlyn over there. And also on the line, ladies and gentlemen. It's always a great day when Rick Pogue is involved in said day.
That I love is falling under attack. A mighty sucker punch came flying in from somewhere in the back.
And you never know where he is, but you know he's always somewhere. Sound like Mike Shannon. Hey, Rick Pogue. Hey, listen to this if you can. This is,
hey, brother.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good.
You.
Where are you right now, buddy?
I'm in South City.
Oh.
I'll be in Hillsboro here in about an hour, and then back to High Ridge for bike night.
Oh yeah, bike night tonight. It's going to be beautiful out there. Hey, listen to this. CNN forced to admit live on air that President Trump's economy is stronger than expected. Listen to this.
tariffs. The Commerce Department says retail sales actually bounced back in June after falling in May. Specifically, they rose 6% last month after a near 1% drop the month before. Economists are obviously closely watching consumer behavior as President Trump's tariffs begin to drive up prices of some goods and services. Separate data out today shows the jobs market also remains resilient as new applications for employment benefits fell for the fifth straight week.
I mean, this is really great. And that's CNN having to report that, brother.
Yeah, numbers don't lie, Jamie. And what really drives you crazy, and I know you agree with this, look at the way under the Biden administration, the last 4 years, how the media, the national media, massaged, lied, made up stories just to make his economy sound better. Imagine what it would be like just 8 months into the second Trump presidency if the national media got behind him and did the same thing for him.
Yeah, I mean, and it's pretty amazing. And, I've noticed this, and I think now that I know that you're driving around and you do that a lot in that truck, the other day I'm filling up the Jeep. And as you know, my gas tank is draining, twice a week because I'm driving all over God's green earth doing real estate.
Sure.
And I filled it up, and I loved, because I always just make it do it automatic, and I go inside to grab something and come back out. I love looking at that number. And I'm telling you, it used to be like $20 more to fill up my tank, and now it's $20 less because I remember the number,
Yes, and it's not done yet, Jamie. I told you a long time ago, look for gas that's under $2 a gallon before too long. It's a simple question of supply and demand. We are the largest exporter of oil in the world. That's where we were at the end of President Trump's first term, and he will get us there again. And people forget. People have short memories of the great things he did in that first term. And when it came around for the 2020 election, a lot of people, and I've talked about this before, a lot of people just get comfortable and then they start looking at their emotions, But no, he's going to do it again. The cool thing about the second time around, his 47, his second term, is he's unafraid to do things that I think he would have held back on in the first term because he has much more support this time, and the left is much more exposed for their lies.
There's no doubt about it. And I can't see, even when it comes, listen, meat prices are still high. They always have been. And for some reason, and I do happen to like herring. You ever eat herring, like in wine sauce or anything like that?
I have not.
Okay. Well, I do. And that stuff is like really expensive, and it has been for about a year now. I don't understand that, so I don't even buy it anymore. But for the most part, everything seems to be fairly reasonable. I do think there's a component here. It kind of is almost like the COVID trend. A lot of businesses lopped off a lot of what otherwise would be maybe costly things they do under the guise of, well, it's because of COVID. It's because of COVID. And they've never come back to it. And so they should. But then also, I think some of the pricing, with Biden, everybody talking about the economy and everything else, I wouldn't be surprised if some people, everybody just kind of like raised their prices and figured, well, it's expected that way. But now I think they better start playing some ball here.
Yeah, well, capitalism, if the playing field is level, capitalism takes care of itself. Competition is what makes capitalism work for the average American. Without competition, it would be, a bunch of monopolies and you'd be out of control. But competition is what keeps it on the even keel. And that's what the left really doesn't understand. Prices will come down if the economic environment is the way it should be, is advantageous to those companies to make the prices so. Corporations will always raise prices if they can, as they should. We're a capitalistic economy. That's how it is supposed to be. Same time, we have checks and balances in capitalism that forces prices to come down. Let that happen organically. If the government stays out of the way, it works out pretty well. It's when the government gets involved and starts setting price limits and all kinds of nonsense that they shouldn't even be involved in, that's when things go sideways for consumers.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be necessary because I've always had an issue, even with the mere existence of the Federal Reserve. When the people used to talk about abolishing the Fed, I think they were right. I don't think actually there ought to be any kind of, especially an unelected body of individuals who are setting interest rates. I mean, interest rates ought to be set organically, and I guarantee you, competition, as you've pointed out before on a number of different levels, competition is really what helps the consumer most.
Yes, and I'm going to make a prediction. I may be wrong, but I'm going to go ahead and predict before this month is over, before the third quarter is over, I think the Fed chair, despite what he wants to do and what he's been holding out for, he's going to have to drop interest rates. And when he does that, Katie barred the door on the economy. Things are really going to shoot up quickly at that time. A lot of things are put in place right now by Donald Trump for that to happen. He's just been holding out because he hates Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Which to me disqualifies the man from being in that position. Doesn't matter what party's in charge. You have to do what's best for the economy, for the American people. So this guy's not doing that, but I do predict it's going to come down before the month's over.
Yeah. And I've been telling people, just as an aside, because in doing real estate, a lot of people are going, well, maybe I should wait till the interest rates are lower to buy a home. I'm going, well, I'll tell you one thing: when the interest rates go down, the home prices go up. So I'm just telling you right now that you can take it now and then refi later, or you can that's what I'm telling people is just go ahead and get the house now, and then just refi when the rates go down, because the prices of homes are going to go up. But that's a good thing in a lot of ways, because that means people who are selling their homes are getting more money. It's a different market and that kind of thing. But I think we'd see rates even lower now if we just left everybody to their own devices. So I think that would be a good thing. Yeah.
I agree. I think it's a matter of time. I can't predict when, obviously, but over the course of the next year or so, I mean, maybe a year and a half, 2 years, during the Trump term, this second term, you're going to see rates getting back to where they should be. Finally getting down to the sixes and down to in the neighborhood they should be in, maybe the fives. It's just not rocket science. Economics, the government gets out of the way, let the market do its thing. Fed chair, which I'm with you on that, but be wise, make good decisions, put the rate where it should be, and let things progress. Everything Donald Trump is doing is pro-capitalism and pro-growth.
Yeah.
And pro-middle class, in spite of what the left says.
I want to let you know, man, there's breaking news, Rick, and this is terrible, but we don't know the extent of it. But Charlie Kirk has been shot at an event in Utah. Yeah. And I'll tell you one thing, the Aiden is familiar with him big time, because he was involved in the Get Out the Vote event that Charlie Kirk did in Arizona when he was out there. And so this is really we're trying to find out more, but he's at an event for Turning Point USA. And I was talking to people about Facebook. I was just watching a ton of videos. Charlie Kirk, what he does is he has these events where he sits there under a tent and people will come up to him and debate him. So he's on campuses. He goes to campuses, and a lot of it's very entertaining, but you never know what's going to happen in that situation. But it's very entertaining because he's so smart, wickedly so.
Yes.
And he leaves these people in a heap. And so apparently he was at a university or a campus in Utah and has been shot. So I know that Tony Colombo is going to keep everybody up to date on that, and we'll continue to pray for Charlie Kirk's survival. We don't know the extent of any of this, and everything is just kind of breaking now, but I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that, but I know that Tony Colombo with Colombo and Company is going to be following this all throughout. And of course, obviously, Tim and Chris are going to deal with that as well. So we'll keep you up to date on all of that and make sure that you know what's going on here. And this is the environment. They're calling everybody Nazis. Apparently, he's hospitalized that we're getting from Fox News. So the good news is, as far as we know, he's alive, which is really a big deal. But this is the environment. The media is drumming all this violence up, and the Democrat Party is drawing all this violence up, and violence is being excused and replaced with rhetoric, and that's the way the left is. But anyway, Rick, man, I'll tell you what, the Hideout, I owe you one. We'll talk more about that, but I know tonight's bike night, but the weekend, there's music all weekend long. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be warm, but there's the coldest beer you're going to find, the greatest food too. So we'll see you at the Hideout, buddy. Thank you so much, Rick Pogue.
Thank you, my friend. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Ashlyn, thank you so much. You guys have a great day.
Hi, I'm Helene Tobler, culinary nutritionist at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. Here we do practical wellness. Dr. Randy and I have a common sense approach to healthcare. My passion is helping our members enjoy better nutrition because food is medicine. We approach problems with a lifestyle foundation and cutting-edge medical tool chest. At Body of Health, it's about being your healthiest you. If you want to experience healthcare the way it ought to be, schedule a discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Success. It's discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us that comes before all recognition. It's the best in each of us, made better by the best in all of us. Whatever success looks like to you, Stifel is invested in yours. That's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. So whether you're an advisor or an investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
This is Mark Harder with RE/MAX Results, the #1 RE/MAX franchise in the region. As a licensed real estate broker with RE/MAX Results for over 20 years, I've seen the ups and downs of many real estate markets, including the one we're in right now. With the spring market in full swing, now is the time to leap into the buying or selling of your home. Someday is not a day. Today is the day to make your move. Call me at 314-852-8933 or email me at markhardersells@gmail.com.
Escape to Augusta, Missouri, where country charm meets endless possibilities. Just a short drive from St. Louis, discover our beautiful wineries, bike the scenic Katy Trail, and explore our rich history. Looking for romance? Our charming bed and breakfasts offer true hospitality with fine dining at local restaurants, wineries, and breweries. It's time to spend some time in the country. Augusta welcomes you. Learn more at augustachamber.org.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm John Scott. There are reports that Salem radio talk show host Charlie Kirk has been shot at Utah Valley University. There are no other details. More information as it becomes available. Israel has struck targets in Yemen's capital.
Israel's launched previous waves of airstrikes in response to the Houthis firing of missiles and drones at Israel. The Iran-backed Houthis say they're supporting Hamas and the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, the European Commission's senior official says she plans to seek sanctions and a partial trade suspension against Israel over the Gaza conflict. I'm Charles Dilla-Desma.
President Trump's emergency order over Washington, D.C. set to expire at midnight because Congress did not extend the order. However, the National Guard and some other federal agencies will continue their deployment. It's not clear when that might end. New charges for the man suspected of killing a young Ukrainian woman in Charlotte, North Carolina.
The Justice Department has now charged DeCarlos Brown Jr. with the fatal stabbing of a Ukrainian refugee. The United States Attorney for the Western District of North Carolina, Russ Ferguson, now has announced that Brown now also faces a federal charge of causing death on a mass transportation system.
The charge we are bringing is in Title 18, which is the Criminal Code. It's Section 1992A7, which is the
law that Congress passed really for this situation is an act of violence on a mass transportation system.
Ferguson says that people should feel safe on public transit and hinted that more federal action may be in the works. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
The jury has been selected for Ryan Ruth, charged with attempting to assassinate Donald Trump last year on a South Florida golf course. Opening statement set for tomorrow in Fort Pierce. Ruth has pleaded not guilty to 5 criminal charges. More